Coming up next on Tech News Today, Amazon Echo might have its own inexpensive music streaming service that most people won't buy. Also, Google is funding immersive video and content, things like games, in preparation of its upcoming VR effort, Daydream, for Android. Facebook is testing autoplay video ads with the audio turned on full blast, and that is a bad idea. Tesla shows off a big bleeping battery atop its new Model S P100D, and playing PS3 games on your Windows PC legitimately. All that and more coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1583, recorded Tuesday, August 23rd, 2016.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Igloo Software. Igloo is an intranet you'll actually like. It connects people with the information they need to do their best work. You can try it free at igloosoftware.com/twit or sign up for a live demo to see it in action.
And by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you fresh, high-quality ingredients to cook delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this week and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit.
And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/TNT. Hello, welcome to Tech News Today. This is the show where we're sort of like the Mulder and Scully of tech news.
Yes, going, the truth is out there.
Yeah, the truth. I don't know if you're Scully or I'm Scully or I'm Mulder. Some days you're Mulder, some days
very well
I'm
be
Scully.
I don't know what role I fit in this X-Files thing.
We will find out today, I think.
Let's get to the bottom of, yes, I want to believe.
Yeah.
I want to believe in some of these stories. I want to believe that Echo can have a streaming service. Anyways, who are you?
I am not Mulder or Scully. I'm Megan Maroney.
I'm Jason Howell. Do you believe in an Echo Music streaming service?
I do, sort of.
Okay.
Let's get to that.
Yeah, let's do.
What if I told you that you could subscribe to a new music streaming service that would let you stream all the music you want for only $4 a month? That sounds pretty good, right? That's probably less than whatever you're paying right now for Spotify or Apple Music. You change, right? But what if I told you could only listen on your Amazon Echo that you probably don't have? There's always the fine print, and this is a pretty important asterisk. Even for me, someone who is a big fan of the Amazon Echo, I have 2 of them in my house. Recode reports that Amazon is working on a $4 or $5 a month music streaming service just for the Echo. They're also working on a $10 a month. We talked about this before. This one you could stream on any device. But I don't know if I need this right now. I can already listen to any of the music that I want. I mean, maybe I'm a plebeian when it comes to music, but really anything is available on Echo. On Pandora,
right.
Or Amazon
the
Prime
big
Music,
services.
or I subscribe to Apple Music and I just pair it to my Echo and then I can listen to anything. So I think it's too little, too late. What do you think?
Tying a music service, even if it's just $4 or $5, $4 or $5 a month isn't that much, but tying it to a single device just seems wrong to me. We're so used to having a music account. That, like an account, and then that account is accessible in all these different places. To say that I'm paying $4 a month or $5 a month specifically for music that comes out of this one single speaker in the center of my kitchen seems a little out. Like the value proposition doesn't seem right there. I'm also guessing that Amazon's Echo audience, like we talk about Echo being a breakout hit, I don't know how many non-tech savvy people have Echo, and I'm guessing the people who own Echo are very tech savvy already. They probably already have a music streaming service. So are they going to get rid of their Spotify so that they can have a single device streaming service on the Echo? I just don't think the market for this is very high. You know what I mean? But I guess if Amazon already has the music service and it's something more versus nothing at all, then I guess that's better than not having it. I just don't know how successful something like this would be.
I don't either. I mean, 52% of Spotify's users are on mobile. That's I don't know. Why you just want it on this one device. I mean, my question is, if you don't already have Spotify or Apple Music, probably Amazon, and you have an Amazon Echo, you probably already have Amazon Prime.
Right.
So the Amazon Prime Music is probably fine for you. I mean, I do know a lot of non-techie people that have the Echo. They were given as gifts, a Father's Day gift, or just it is more popular in the United States. It only responds to English. So, but I think those people are probably fine with the free music they're getting. I wonder if they're going to scale back on that. If they have to, I don't know. They also have Amazon standalone video service. We've talked about that. That's $10 a month. All these like piecemeal services are always scare me because it's kind of like being a cord cutter. I was like, oh, I can pick and choose, but it's like it ends up being so much more money than it was before.
Yeah, it really does. I guess the one thing that this would have going for it, based on what we're hearing here, anyways, is that the Amazon Echo service would be the wider library, would be the grander library that their supposed $10 a month streaming service is going to provide, because the Amazon Music service that you get with Amazon Prime is not an amazing library compared to a lot of the competitors. It's definitely a more stripped down, pared down offering, so you're not getting everything that you would expect that you would get through, say, Spotify or some of the other competitors. So
for sure, but I don't know that people need that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only
Well, that's
speaking.
true.
I'm speaking for me. Like occasionally,
Yeah.
there's a song that I don't have, but it's super easy to buy it. For 99 cents with my voice. But my dad has an Echo, and he does. He's like, it's every music that, and but he likes a lot of that older music.
Yes,
Bob
exactly.
Dylan and that
If
sort of
he's
thing.
listening to some of the newer, more modern, hits, I'm sure that he'd have a harder time.
Exactly.
So maybe that's the difference. Nougat arrived for Android only yesterday, and one key feature of the OS hasn't been fully implemented at this stage anyways. We haven't seen it. That's the Daydream VR functionality that works in conjunction with Daydream ready devices to throw Android into a VR ready environment. Google really wants to show off Daydream's capabilities once it hits the hands of users, so sources say the company is lining up exclusive content deals with YouTube stars to introduce the VR platform when it launches in the coming weeks, likely tied to the upcoming Nexus device launch, as well as alongside VR headsets and controllers that were built or to be built and released with the Daydream spec in mind. So, this is a partnership with Hulu LLC for some content. They're funding production of 360-degree content starring Justin Iseric. Justine. Sorry. It dropped the E. The Dolan twins, who I know you were researching prior, and you
Right.
couldn't turn it off.
I couldn't. I almost hear these YouTube stars being thrown around. I know Justine, but
Yeah.
I was like the Dolan twins. These are the Dolan twins getting their wisdom teeth
This is
taken
riveting.
out, which
I want to see
just
this in
realized.
360 degrees.
It's like, I know, who doesn't want to watch someone get their wisdom teeth? It's not getting the wisdom teeth. It's the aftermath of the wisdom teeth when you're still loopy, which is apparently a big thing. Also, I have twins, and I'm wondering if I can, pimp them out, and then they can go to college, because apparently people enjoy watching these kinds of things, and then they can watch them in 360 degrees.
Well, they're going to have to record on a daily to weekly basis and build up a following slowly over time.
Yeah.
But it's possible. It's totally possible.
I'm not
You
going
could
to
fund
do
their
that.
college here.
I'm not going to do that.
Apparently, Google's putting their money where their mouth is. They're spending upper six figures for games, also gaming content, also low five figures for filmmakers, for talent. Filmmakers are required to use the Jump. That's the 16 camera VR rig platform for recording all of this video. And some of the apps, by the way, Tilt Brush, The Wave, which is a VR DJing app, which I'm very curious to see what that is. Basically, mobile VR is the gateway right now for a lot of people. Google's banking on that, so they're putting some money in here to raise awareness and excitement for VR. And that lifts Android up because it's built into the OS.
Do you think that this is the kind of thing that people might switch from iOS?
I don't know. I never know what's enough to make someone switch from iOS. I think if people are on iOS and they're happy, I don't think that VR being built into Android is necessarily going to pull them away, unless they also happen to be more than their love for iOS and iPhone, is their love for VR. And if that's what they have to have, an operating system that has VR hooks in it, then I guess it would pull them away. I don't see that happening to a lot of people, though.
Well, do you think a lot of people like bought the Galaxy phone just so they could have the Gear VR?
I'm sure some people did, but I don't know how much of an influence that is on like the average person that walks into a cellular, a cell store to pick up a phone. I don't know if their first thought is, well, I could get this one because then I could get their Gear VR and do VR. Like, again, that's a certain tech demographic. We talk about VR all the time on this show, and to me, I'm excited about it. So I feel like it's this big movement, but in reality, it's still, I have to imagine, relatively small compared to a lot of the other needs that people have.
Probably. Well, in other Google news, Alphabet is on your side when it comes to fighting pop-ups. In a post on Google's webmaster blog today, project manager Dontum Fan says the team is making some changes to mobile search. Google mobile sites that feature pop-ups and interstitials will now rank lower in search results. The Verge points out that annoying ads are among hundreds of signals that determine how sites show up in search results, so don't expect your mobile web search results to change overnight. Google also says that pop-ups needed to meet a legal requirement, like those that will verify someone's age. Those will not be punished by this change in the algorithm.
Good.
So other login dialogues where content is not publicly indexable, that also will not be affected. Also, banners that use a reasonable amount of screen space and are easily dismissible, those are also okay. So, Google search favors sites that are mobile friendly, sites with encryption. So this isn't the first time they've done this, and I am all for it.
Yeah. Threatening to lower a search ranking, it's a pretty good way to get change, probably even more effective than ad blockers, actually, to get advertisers to kind of change what they're doing because it's so important, right?
Yeah.
Like that Google search ranking is incredibly important, and they're beholden to that by a large degree. Apparently, these changes are going to take effect January 10th. 2017. I already put it in our outlook for the future. So, the week ahead, next year, we've got that on the calendar.
Oh, really? It's a year from now?
Well, next calendar year. Oh. It's not quite a year away, but so it's going to happen sometime soon, sometime in January, and I'm all for it. By the way, in related news, Google's also dropping, when you do a search on mobile and it has the little thing that says mobile friendly next to it to kind of let you know, like, this is designed. Well, apparently 85% of results already are mobile friendly, so they're dropping that out entirely to kind of clean up your search results and everything. But
I think this is probably also an effort to get people to not use ad blockers. I mean, just because those people that say like, oh, well, I only use an ad blocker because of pop-up ads or because of annoying ads, and they're like, well, we're helping you get rid of those. So.
Yep. All right, cleaning it up a little bit so you don't have to. Speaking of ads, yay! I hope I get to be one of the first to try out Facebook's new feature. And I know I'm not alone in my adoration for autoplay video that includes the sound at full volume. That sounds neato. Apparently, Facebook is testing the autoplay of video ads on certain users in Australia. No doubt Facebook is always testing something, so you have to imagine this was going to happen, or probably has, and this is just another time that they're trying it. Even when it's such an incredibly bad idea for users, like I think this is, they're going to test it out to see how it fares in the court of beta test public opinion. Particularly because advertisers don't want their ads muted. For one, even Facebook's own data shows that 80% of users who encounter such ads react negatively to them. But seriously, there's money to be made in autoplay video ads with the audio turned on by default, so screw your ears and listen to this great deal by Geico already. What do you think?
I thought we were going to actually listen to it.
No, we don't actually have an ad. We're not sponsored by Geico.
No, we're not. So Facebook knows what you're doing. They're always watching you like Santa Claus. So don't scroll by that ad when it turns. If you're part of the test, scroll right by it. And then because they said that if everybody hates it, they're gonna not do it. So I mean, they do everything for themselves. But if you go away and you're scrolling through an ad, then that's not beneficial to them. So they don't want to annoy us because we might go away. They just want to make money, and so just scroll, keep scrolling. Act with your scrolling finger, people.
I suppose in Facebook's defense, like they have actively been telling advertisers, like, users do not want this. They've quoted the 80% number of people being dissatisfied with the ad that they see with the autoplay audio included. It's not just autoplay video. That we've all gotten used to. It's autoplay video with the audio turned on at full volume. So if your speakers are unmuted, suddenly it comes blasting through. And I know when that happens to me when I visit a site, I want to never go to that site again because it annoys me to no end. But you can kind of understand, advertisers want this because it allows them to take the inventory they already have, the content that they've already created, and use it all over the place. It's not as expensive for them to have to figure out how to retool it or add captions, which is what you see a lot. But also because other networks, Snapchat, for instance, those networks are built around audio on kind of being a default anyways for the content that you share and that you see and all that kind of stuff. So in those situations, an audio on advertisement by default actually makes sense because that's how the environment is. And actually users on Snapchat apparently, according to this article, seem to be okay with that. So Facebook wants in on that, but it's just too bad that their presentation, their social network is not built like that, and it actually becomes rather jarring.
Yeah, too bad for them, I guess.
Too bad for Facebook. Let's all feel really bad for
No,
Facebook
let's
right
not
now.
ever feel sorry for a company like Facebook. All right, well, you know that old Dr. Seuss book, If I Ran the Zoo? I've always loved that book because I have always wanted to run a zoo, but not the Cincinnati Zoo right now, and I would certainly not want to be in charge of their social media account. At Cincinnati Zoo, the official Twitter account for the zoo, has deleted their account. Why? Harambe memes. Now, in case you don't spend as much time digging through Twitter memes as I do, Harambe was the gorilla who was shot by the Cincinnati Zoo after he threatened the life of a child. What happened next was pretty typical of Twitter. First, there was outrage, just a lot of outrage. Many people on the internet were very angry at the death of Harambe, and rightly so. It was a sad situation all around, but that kind of righteous anger got a little bit out of control, and then a whole other group of people on Twitter began making fun of the people who were so angry about the death of a gorilla that they never met and who threatened the life of a child. And they were really angry at the parents of the child because it's fun to blame parents for everything that goes wrong. The memes were so out of control that the zoo had to shut down its Twitter account and the account of Thane Mannard, who actually ran the zoo.
Yeah, so here's how the internet works.
Okay, here's how the internet works.
Let's start with how the internet works. We know this. We all work in technology. We understand how the internet works. When you ask people to stop doing a thing on the internet, that's usually the time that they start doing the thing even more. So when you say, and especially when it's tied to a meme, when you go on record, when you're the subject, and it's unfortunate. I understand the frustration here. They as staff, they probably, they grew to know Harambe very well. And so the loss, the whole scenario, how it all went down, not having Harambe around anymore, like I have to imagine that's not an easy situation for them to experience and live with. So I understand the desire to not have to face this every day in the form of an internet meme that just explodes. But anytime you ask for a meme to not happen is when the meme is going to explode even bigger. So
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just how it works.
I mean, the zoo said actually the worst thing you could say is like, we are not amused. And it's like those people are like, okay, let me try very hard to amuse you with more memes. They broke into his Twitter account. I mean, Maynard, the guy who ran the zoo, Harambe is very popular. 2%, according to one poll, 2% of the popular vote would elect him, this gorilla, as president of the United States.
I'm not sure what that means, or maybe I do, and I'm not going to say it out loud. But I will say, kind of along those lines, I suppose, the other method is to embrace the meme. I don't know how they would do that in this situation, because that might, I don't know, be insensitive, or I'm not really quite sure. But remember, Obama did this with Thanks Obama. I think it was like a year ago. He put out a Vine video where he couldn't fit the cookie into the milk glass, and he says, "Thanks, Obama."
Yeah.
And so you know what? Embrace the meme,
Yeah.
and you defuse it entirely.
I know. Yeah. Well, after the break, Elon Musk just announced that a big battery for Tesla with a huge range. We'll talk about that. But first, let's take a minute to thank Igloo, the sponsor of this episode. Now, work is no longer a location. Teams can be together half a world away. Igloo is a modern intranet designed to keep everyone on the same page. You can share files, have real conversations in real time, and do it all while still being able to use the apps that you currently use, like Box or Google Drive and Skype. Igloo brings everything together and creates a single destination that lets you focus on your work. It's a cloud platform that helps you share files, collaborate on documents, blog updates, coordinate calendars, and manage all your projects. Anyone can add content based on their permissions with drag and drop widgets and a WYSIWYG editor. Igloo also offers a variety of access, authentication, and identity services to ensure that only authorized users have access in private clouds over SSL with 256-bit encryption. Now, unlike other solutions, you can customize Igloo to fit your needs and work with your current IT investments like Office 365, Salesforce, SharePoint, Active Directory, file sharing solutions like Google Drive and Box, and support systems like Zendesk. Put simply, Igloo is an intranet that you'll actually like. So try it free at igloosoftware.com/twit or sign up for a live demo to see it in action. When you sign up through our link, you can get your own Igloo for up to 10 people. It's absolutely free and for as long as you want it. Just go to igloosoftware.com/TWIT. We've got some big car news from several different sources today. Joining us to make sense of it all is Sam Abu El Samid from Navigant Research. Welcome, Sam.
Hello again, Megan and Jason. Always a pleasure to join you guys.
So I should say, if you're watching, if you're just listening to this, if we refer to the squirrel, that is a squirrel that's sitting dangerously, it's perched dangerously in back of Sam.
And in real life, it's actually there, just frozen in time.
Yeah, it's Sam's.
Now I'm scared.
Squirrels are
After I stole its soul yesterday with my camera, it just stayed there and wouldn't move anymore.
That's what happens when you steal a squirrel's soul, or so I've heard. I've never done that before.
You've never done it.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the piece that you wrote for Forbes today, Sam. Delphi and Mobileye, two leaders in the robot car race, have announced a partnership to develop a self-driving system designed for automakers to integrate into their cars. Now, Mobileye and Delphi already have deals with automakers to supply elements for advanced driver assist systems. How is this partnership different?
So what's going on here? Delphi is one of the biggest, what's known as Tier 1 automotive suppliers. So they're the companies that sell systems and components directly to the car makers. And Mobileye their focus is on vision sensors. So they're the biggest supplier of the camera sensors that are used in cars for lane departure warning systems, things like that, and as well as they're still used by Tesla as part of their autopilot system, but that's going to be going away in Tesla's next generation. Recently, they announced that Mobileye will no longer be supplying Tesla. So Mobileye and Delphi are collaborating to develop a turnkey autonomous driving package. So most of the big car makers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW, Volkswagen, GM, Ford, they're developing their own autonomous driving systems in-house. But for some of the smaller car companies that don't necessarily have the resources to develop their own systems, they're going to look to suppliers like Delphi and Continental and Bosch and Denso to help them develop those systems. So what Delphi and Mobileye are doing is putting together a complete package with all the sensors, the control systems, and then all the car maker has to do is integrate the sensors into their cars.
So we're not talking about those like aftermarket systems that you would just add to your older car.
No, this is going to be for new cars only. So they'll only be selling this to car makers like perhaps Mazda or Fiat Chrysler or maybe Renault or Peugeot in Europe. So some of the smaller manufacturers that aren't doing their own systems. And that's the only way you'll get these is as part of a new car.
So you mentioned the breakup between Mobileye and Tesla. That was shortly after the fatal accident, and there were rumblings about how maybe Mobileye, their sensors weren't good enough. What would you say the breakup was about?
It's hard to say for sure who broke up with who. It sounds more like from what we've heard that Mobileye broke up with Tesla because after the crash became public, Elon Musk came out very publicly and blamed Mobileye for being the cause of the crash because their system didn't detect the truck. It wasn't able to distinguish this truck crossing the road in front of the Tesla that crashed into it. And so, that obviously didn't do Mobileye's reputation much good. And so Mobileye apparently decided to stop selling systems to Tesla going forward, once their current contracts expire.
But was it the reason that it happened? I guess is the the good question there.
Well,
I mean,
it was certainly part of the reason. I mean, obviously the camera did not detect what, the truck was there, but neither did the radar sensor that Tesla was using.
Oh, there you go.
And, the Tesla's whole package that, their control package that they developed also wasn't able to detect it. So, I mean, there's blame to go around for everybody. So I wouldn't entirely blame Mobileye for this one.
got it.
So what are we to take from this partnership? Is this good news will this speed up autonomous cars? I think they gave a date of 2019, which, we've heard this summer, we've heard 2017, 2019. Is this good news for those of us who couldn't have a self-driving car fast enough?
Yeah, well, it's about the same. It effectively is about the same timing as what most other manufacturers are saying, because what Delphi and Mobileye announced this morning is that they'll be doing public demonstrations of this system next January at CES in Las Vegas, and then they're going to be doing on-the-road field testing with it beginning in 2017 and over the next couple of years as they develop the system and get it validated. And then by 2019, they plan to have it ready for manufacturers to for the car makers to start taking it and integrating it into their systems. So then it's going to be probably another 2 to 3 years after that before it actually goes on sale. So you're probably looking around 2021, 2022 timeframe before these systems are available. Most likely similar to what Ford announced last week, through car sharing services and ride hailing services, rather than going on sale to the public at that time point.
It's fine. If I have to, I don't need my own self-driving car. I just want to stop driving my own car as soon as possible. So let's move on to Tesla. Today, Elon Musk announced a new Model S, the P100D, with ludicrous mode. This electric car has a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 2.5 seconds. Tesla also claims 315-mile range. What are your initial thoughts on this announcement?
Well, certainly calling this ludicrous mode is probably the greatest example of truth in advertising of all time. Going from 2.8 to 2.5 seconds for 0 to 60, I mean, if you're going under 3 seconds, who cares? I mean, it's not like you can ever drive that fast, legally on public roads anyway. I mean, it's only something you're ever going to do once in a while to show off to your friends. So, I don't. That doesn't really matter much. The new battery pack is perhaps a little more interesting. What they're doing is they're using the same cells inside the battery pack that they have in their current packs, the 90 kilowatt hour and the 75, but they're just packing more of them in. And what they've done is they've made some changes because they have to pack in the cells more tightly within the case of the battery pack. They had to make some changes for the cooling system and to allow the coolant to flow through so the battery doesn't overheat. And then still fit it within the same overall size, so it'll fit in, so they can drop it into the same vehicles without changing the rest of the car. For a mere $20,000, Leo can take his Model X back and have them swap in, to get another 10 kilowatt hours in his car.
So that would be you're talking about kind of like a pay to unlock upgrade of sorts. It seems to be.
No, actually, this one will not. It's not paid. It's not a software upgrade. For this one, they'll actually have to replace the battery pack completely, because they're still using the same cells, and the 90 kilowatt hour pack that they have right now, they're using the full capacity of that. So there's nothing left to unlock in that one. So they will actually have to replace that battery pack with a new battery pack that has more cells in it to give you that extra capacity. The smaller one, the 60 kilowatt hour version that they sell. That one, it is the same pack as the 75 kilowatt hour version, and that one just has some of the capacity disabled in software, and that one you can pay for a software upgrade, but to go from 90 to 100, you have to replace the pack.
So you said it's $20,000 for Leo, but if you haven't received your Model S yet, like me, probably because I haven't ordered it or paid for it yet, which is why I haven't received it. Then it's only $10,000, right?
Right. Yeah. So if you haven't actually bought the car yet, for a new purchase, where it'll be coming from the factory with the bigger pack, And in that case, it's a $10,000 upgrade. But if they have to replace your existing pack, it'll be $20,000.
Okay, so there was something else in the press release that you need to explain to me. It says, so this is the Model S, not the big Model X, which is like a minivan. Don't call it a minivan, though. The Model S, it says it will seat up to 5 adults and 2 children. In this car that we're looking at here, the Model S, how does that work?
The Model S, there's an optional pair of rear jump seats. So they go in the back under the hatch. So I don't know. You guys probably aren't old enough to remember.
No,
back in the,
I remember those.
I rode them in the New York City cabs.
Oh, okay. Old school station wagons. They used to have those rear-facing jump seats for little kids in the back, and that's what you can get as an option in the Model S. So there's a pair of rear-facing jump seats that you can get. So you normally have the 5 seats that are facing forwards, and this reportedly was added at Elon Musk's insistence when they were designing the car, because he has 5 sons, and so he wanted to be able to take all his kids in the car. So that's why they added those 2 extra rear seats as an option. So that's been available on the Model S ever since it launched. That's not new.
I've desperately been looking for a car that won't fit all my children so that I don't have to take all of them.
Oops, I guess I don't have to drive you around
You
town.
need to go find a used Roadster. You need a
Yes.
Tesla Roadster, because that only has 2 seats.
Excellent. I will start looking for that immediately.
Or a Mini. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, no, the
that's-
Mini, no, but that BMW i3 only has 4 seats. It's quite nice, but yeah, I do
Oh, I
have.
love that. I love the rear-facing seats.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And they got full 5-point harnesses, so
Yeah.
it's just like in a race car.
Yeah, not back in the jump seats we used to sit in with nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. You're sitting in the chair. What more safety do you need?
Yeah, you were lucky we didn't put you in the trunk.
A lot of times, I can remember times, when kids would ride in the back of a big station wagon when there were no seats back there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sam. You can find Sam's work at Navigant Research, or he's also on Twitter at Sam. I'll spell his last name for you. It's ABUELSAMID. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you, Sam, and
Take-
bye to the squirrel as well.
Bye.
Don't want to leave the squirrel out of this. Jason Greb weighed in on our discussion of sharing medical information online. He writes, I've worked in the medical field exclusively for the last 5 years. Keep in mind that besides the privacy and many legal concerns that come with that, interfacing an EMR, large or small, can be very difficult. That's electronic medical record. There we go. For smaller offices, they simply can't afford the exorbitant fees that EMR vendors charge to set up an interface. In addition, they need to get more complex hardware to support those interfaces securely. For larger hospitals or health systems, their systems are generally incredibly complex and include many different sources of data that would need to be combined and finally interfaced. On top of all that, federal and state agencies are governing just how that data can be shared. We'll get there one day, but it is still a long road ahead. And I feel like that's been the thought behind this sort of data portability for a long time already. We'll get there someday, but there's a lot of work to do. There's always a lot of work to do in this field. It's amazing that it hasn't progressed faster than it has, but I guess it's complex and it's expensive.
Yeah, I love it when experts, people who are working in the field, email us and say, like, here's
Yes,
why
me
it's
too.
difficult to do what you say should be easy.
Yeah.
But he was also optimistic. Like, we will get there.
We'll get there
it's just
someday.
going to take some time.
It makes a whole lot of sense that we will someday. Coming up, Sam Moscovich, the other Sam, joins us midweek to discuss Sony's PlayStation plans for Windows PCs. Some interesting news there. But before that, let's take a minute to thank Blue Apron. They are the sponsor of this episode. This is the part of the show where you get hungry. It's about dinner time here when we're recording. Blue Apron has a mission to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. All while supporting a more sustainable food system. They set the highest standards for ingredients, and they're building a community of home chefs along the way. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with fresh, high-quality ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals. Every meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients. Makes the whole process really easy because it's all portioned out for you. It can be prepared in 40 minutes or less. You'll save time and money. Shopping at the grocery store is 60% more expensive than with Blue Apron. If you spend a lot eating out or at high-end grocery chains, Well, you can now spend under $10 per person for healthy home-cooked meals. Customize your recipes every week based on your dietary preferences and choose a delivery option that fits your needs. There's no weekly commitment, so you only get deliveries when you want them. Blue Apron delivers to 99% of the continental U.S. Blue Apron sets the highest quality standards for their community. There's over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers all across the United States that participate here. Seafood is sourced sustainably, beef's raised humanely, chickens are free range, pork is raised naturally, and regenerative farming practices are used for produce. By shipping the exact amount required for the recipe, not only does it make things a little easier on you, but Blue Apron is reducing food waste. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron is going to bring you the best all around. Blue Apron not only supports a more sustainable food system, it supports happy and healthy families. Cooking together builds strong family bonds, and research shows that Blue Apron families cook nearly 3 times more often. New recipes are created every week, so you're going to see something new every single time you get that box by Blue Apron's culinary team who are creating those recipes. They're not repeated within the year, so they really keep it fresh throughout the year. Spiced pork burgers with goat cheese and cucumber corn salad. There's summer vegetable and quinoa bowl with fairy tale eggplants, shishito, peppers, and corn. Chicken tinga tacos, and which is fun to say. Summer squash and tomato salsa. All sorts of really great food. You got to check it out for yourself. Take a look at this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/twit. You're going to love how it feels and how it tastes, of course, to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So do not wait. Visit blueapron.com/twit, and we thank Blue Apron for their support of Tech News Today. All right, so it may not be Friday, it's only Tuesday, but that doesn't mean we can't get a visit from our friend over at Ars Technica, Sam Miskovich. How's it going, Sam?
Hello, everybody. I'm just hanging out with all these tomatoes that are growing in my front yard. It's really amazing here in Seattle, Washington right now. I think I just dropped one on my mouse, so sorry if I just messed up the call. Hi.
That's okay. You didn't, and now I want a little tomato for myself, so you're going to have to ship one out to the new studio here.
Are they real tomatoes or VR tomatoes?
Oh, yeah. Is this real? Is this real life? So real, I heard the squishiness.
They're delicious. They're so good. But we should talk about things that are a little more virtual, a little technology. I feel like you guys are calling me about something.
Yeah, I think we're calling not about the RFID chip that you placed inside those tomatoes, but actually we're calling you about some PlayStation news. I have a PS3 at home, which oddly enough can play PS3 games pretty much perfectly. Go figure.
That's good to hear, Grandpa.
Yeah, but if I know, wow, I'm an aging community that has the PS3 console in my living room. But if it didn't, apparently all I need is a Windows PC. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes, because Sony has launched a initiative to put its PlayStation Now cloud streaming game service on Windows PCs. Now, PlayStation Now works sort of like Netflix for video games. The idea being you look through a menu of a bunch of games that you're interested in, and you click the one you want to play, and there's a computer in the cloud or a PlayStation in the cloud, I don't know what they do exactly, that loads your game and lets you play it over the internet. So as you press buttons, they go back and forth between the cloud and back to your TV. So it's not quite as exact as having a PlayStation in your home, but we've done testing over the years. It's been out since 2014, and it works pretty well. Currently, it's only works on PlayStation 4 consoles, on the PlayStation Vita, and on some select devices like smart TVs. So it's not just for PlayStation systems, and it makes sense that Sony's now saying, hey, if you want to pay a monthly or per 3-month subscription fee, you can play all the games you want on a Windows PC, because it essentially works the same way. The news actually trickled out in a funny way that Sony had messed up and put the announcement in a caption of a blog post. A photo on another blog post had nothing to do with it. And then about a few hours later, they went ahead and said what was actually happening. And they're also releasing a USB wireless adapter for the PlayStation 4 controller. The idea being you can actually take a PlayStation 4 controller and connect it to a laptop or a desktop with Bluetooth. However, the support is a little finicky. It's sort of faking like an Xbox controller in some ways, depending on the game or the app that you're using. Sony clearly wants you to be able to plug this little guy into a computer and have your controller just work. So that's going to be coming in the middle of September. It's going to cost $25 in the United States, this little adapter. So the combination of things we're seeing here is, hey, do you have a Windows computer? We want you to play PlayStation games on it, and we're going to help you use this controller. I find it's a very interesting move on Sony's part. I don't know what you guys think of it.
Well, I'm very interested in this as well. I feel like the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is, at least speaking of grandpa and video games, like I feel like this whole emulation scene that exists behind the scenes, that exists illegitimately, where people want to be able to have access to playing these old games, all of this content that's been created year after year after year, and then because it doesn't fit into the current model, the current console that exists, it literally drops off the face of the earth. And other than buying an ancient console that's 10 years old and finding somewhere to buy the game and all that kind of stuff, you want to relive that stuff, that's your only option. And so this seems, at least to me, to be some sort of a way for Sony to kind of cash in at least a little bit on that kind of sentiment. What do you think?
Well, I think you're onto something here in terms of what these services do. They aren't having the newest games. These are PlayStation 3 games, and
Right.
PlayStation 3 lost mainstream official support a couple of years ago. But those games are still out there. They're quite good, and this is a really interesting way to go back to a back catalog and try out older games. In my dream world, Sony would go all the way back to its PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 platforms,
Right.
put all that stuff out there. And I mean, that's how Netflix really began getting people's attention. They were able to take these giant back catalogs of content that people didn't price very highly. You could go through and watch entire seasons of The West Wing, and people at West Wing thought, okay, whatever, this isn't worth that much, people might like it. And all these different shows and all this different older content being in one place, one easily accessible place for subscription, everyone gets paid. People who might have pirated or who might have done emulation or might have done some other way of getting the stuff are now willing to throw in that $10 or $15 a month to try stuff out. So I think this honestly is Sony's plan to essentially say, both Sony and Microsoft have kind of said things about the future of gaming platforms not being about hardware. You're not going to get the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox 1.7. The idea is that it's like a phone universe where you keep on getting new iPhones and they continue to work with the old stuff and they'll work with newer stuff. And so for PlayStation to come out and say, it doesn't even matter what system you use. We want your money,
Right.
whatever device you use. And this may be a first step to a very bold strategy in that way, where as long as your device can display lights and colors and connect to the internet, you could use PlayStation Now. I'm sure that's the dream. And I, for one, would love to have more good cloud gaming services. The main issue is that they have that latency. You are going back and forth from your home to the cloud. And so when I press the X button to jump, that could have a delay if I don't have incredibly good internet. And for a lot of the United States, that's just not a default. For a lot of the United States, a disc game is still the ultimate way to go, whether that's because you have slow internet or because you have freaking bandwidth caps. So there's still a lot of issues, I think, to work out before everyone's just going to rush to use a video streaming game service. But I also think that the way broadband plays out in the United States will be very interesting for services just like this, because video games blaze a trail in some ways that other services look at and go, oh, we could do it that way too. So I like the news. I think it's a good move. I think it definitely puts some pressure on Microsoft in terms of their Xbox everywhere kind of initiative. I think this might actually be a little more accessible to the average person all in all. But we'll have to see what Microsoft does this fall. Their big Xbox Anywhere initiative of games on Windows PCs, on Windows 10 PCs is coming. So we'll have to definitely, PlayStation Now is going to work on all of Windows. You don't need Windows 10 for this. So that's a point in Sony's favor. You can stick to Windows 7 and still try the service out. So that's the thing. This is all coming down the pipeline in a couple of weeks. We'll definitely be trying it out, testing it out, seeing if it performs better or worse on Windows than it does on dedicated PlayStation hardware.
So my grandmother was wondering when I might be able to have this on my Mac. And when
Good
I say
luck.
my grandmother, I mean me.
Know what? Yep, there we go. Wow, you guys have really souped things up with the new
New studio. We have a live drummer in the corner.
I
cool.
don't believe that's coming anytime soon. That hasn't been
really.
announced. I see no very nice. I see no reason for Sony to take that long. I think it's just one thing at a time. I think there's not going to be that much difference ultimately for going, let's talk to the internet, let's get this stuff sent to a system. And Macintosh OS X is pretty much a more stable platform than a bazillion different Windows computers. So they haven't said anything. I don't see it taking that much longer. I don't see this being as delayed for OS X users the way that a lot of other good stuff is delayed for people who love their Macs. So, Grandma, hold on. Your grandma. I'm not calling you Grandma. I should go.
What about Apple TV? Apple TV anytime soon?
Oh, smart TV platforms have this stuff, so I don't know what exclusivity stuff there is with some of the sets that currently have PlayStation Now. That's up to Sony. They certainly didn't announce it. They weren't using this opportunity to say Apple TV, but this is setting the table for being kind of like Netflix. Netflix
Right.
used to only be on Xbox 360, and then when the Wii came out on the Wii, it was a big deal. Now you can't throw a console down the street without hitting a Netflix device. So, they're setting the table, I assume, to get as much money from as many people as possible.
And open up all that back catalog. I completely agree with you. Like if
Lay
they
all
were
the
to
old games
continue going back further and further and further, suddenly this becomes even more compelling over time for true fans of the platform over the years. And okay, it's time for you to get back to your tomato. Obviously, we're keeping you from your tomato paradise.
Actually, you're keeping me from putting on an eye tracking device. I have a thing that's going to watch my face as I play a video game and make the game change accordingly. So you guys keep
Wow.
eyes tuned to Ars Technica. I'll be playing the new Deus Ex game with the Tobii, Tobii eye tracker. I will see you all soon.
Sounds good. Sam Miskovich, Ars Technica, at Sam Red on Twitter. Thanks, man. Enjoy your tomatoes and your VR, as you usually do.
TNT's fan of the day is Gumper Can Lear on Twitter, who says he enjoys watching TNT while playing Bejeweled 3, showing off an iTouch, an iPad Pro, and the iPhone 6s Plus. That is a
Extreme
lot of tech.
multitasking, and not only watching TNT but watching something from Leo's studio simultaneously. So channel one of Twit's podcasts in one ear, channel the other one in the other ear, play Bejeweled, and eat dinner. I don't know.
Right. I mean, you can actually have more. You could be subscribed to all the podcasts, be watching them on all the different devices.
At the same time.
Yes. If you have a setup where you watch every single Twitch show, we want to see it. And we want to see how you just watch this show, too.
Yeah.
Show us how. Record a video, take a picture, put it on Google+, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can even put it on IMSI. Have you heard of IMSI? That's a new...
I've heard of it. I mean,
it's a
I
new
know
community.
the name.
It's like
Okay.
Reddit, but nice.
Oh.
So if you nicer than Reddit.
It's probably a pretty important addition
So
there.
we'll look everywhere and use the hashtag How I Watch TNT, and we'll find it.
All right.
So coming up, there's a bot that is fighting for the homeless. We'll talk about that. But first, let's take a minute to thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, the sponsor of this episode. I have 2 mortgages under my belts and 1 refinance. All the experiences were not so good. But Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. It's fast, powerful, and completely online. Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. You don't have to search through old stacks of files and paperwork. Who needs them? With Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button, just a simple touch. You can get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's tailored to your individual financial situation. With Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this on your phone, on your tablet. It's a quick process. It's all online. You can manage it from the convenience of your couch or your floor or wherever. You can be wearing your pajamas if you want. Pants optional. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/TNT. That's quickenloans.com/TNT. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org, number 3030. And we thank Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans for their support.
All right. A while ago, we covered the story of the robot lawyer, a chatbot designed to analyze and hopefully overturn parking tickets in the UK and the US. It was successful in 170,000 cases, so it's been effective, to say the least. Now the creator is turning that energy towards homelessness by updating the Do Not Pay chatbot to analyze the scenarios of those who would be homeless, of course, by means of things like eviction and repossession. In 2015, tenant evictions reached its highest level ever, according to the Ministry of Justice. And the creator of Do Not Pay, that's Joshua Browder, decided to include new functionality to help, in his words, affect social change. Basically, it does kind of similar things here. It asks pertinent questions to basically uncover alternative options. Things like are you or someone you live with pregnant, or these different questions that I imagine through the system could help get you some sort of emergency housing, be granted emergency housing. It forms the letter based around, the answers that you give, and ultimately just kind of maximizes your chances of landing housing.
I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think more bots like this, because it's just getting through red tape, essentially. Like
Jumping
a
through
parking
hoops.
lot. Yeah, like a parking lot is just like, who's going to hang out longer? It's like the bots we were talking about on Twit that, for robocalls. Like, who's going to spend the most of time, like, who's going to give up first? Like, it's like a game of chicken. And I mean, it's the same with getting housing. I used to volunteer at COTS, which is the homeless shelter in town. And we had a class that I volunteered for. It was called Rent Right. It would help people rent apartments, because there's just so much that you have to jump through, and it's really hard if you have debt, and like there's different kind of debt that matters and doesn't matter. Like if you have medical debt, like they'll forgive that more easily, that sort of thing. And so I love this. I mean, we talk about bots being just useless as things, help us send flowers, help us, just do the things we don't want to do. But this is great. Like, I would love to see more bots like this that just could help get through that sort of like the person on the phone that's just saying no to you when you really need them to say yes.
Yeah, it really seems like the creator, Joshua Browder, who's 19, by the way, he's a 19-year-old creator behind the original bot, and then now opening it up to this, really seems like it's becoming his mission to do what you're talking about, making bots have some sort of, capability of affecting serious change. He next intends to focus on immigration issues and refugees, all that. He's basically taking these things that are hot button topics right now and figuring out if they are the sorts of things that a bot can actually help you with, so that you don't need to jump through that red tape on your own, so that it can help you formulate, the process of writing these things. Apparently, in the case of the emergency housing, the councils are required to take a look at every single letter and to take them seriously. So whether a bot's writing it or not, whether it's whether it matches word, in some parts word for word what other requests do, if the person who's filled that out and has done it properly, then they have provided the information that is required to make a judgment by these councils. So that just makes it easier, makes it more attainable.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, because it's the same thing with medical insurance. You always feel like it's just like, who's going to hang out there longer? Who's going to fight that longer? And, eventually you just, or like Comcast or anything, you're just like, I'm just going to pay it because I'm sick of it. It's just too much time is money, So if you could put a bot on that, let's get a bot on that.
Yeah, put a bot on that. Why don't you? If you like it and you want to put a bot on it. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be a part of the show by emailing us at tnt@twit.tv. You can leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT show, and you can hit us up on Twitter, but don't hit us, but you can hit us up on Twitter at Tech News Today TV.
Right. Don't hit us, but
do
subscribe to our show, twit.tv/TNT. You can subscribe there. You can find all the ways, audio, video. Go ahead and subscribe to the video, because then you can see when there's a squirrel hanging out behind our guest's head. And find me on Twitter. I'm at Megan Maroney.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director, Brian Burnett. Thanks to Greg Burnett for scrolling words on a screen endlessly. And we are now at the end of that, so thank you. You made it. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. Hi, Greg. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Fist bump.